Welcome to Focus TV for
Everybody,
our
my name is
community
Gwendolyn
today.
Bork. I'm the president of Focus for our community, unity, and support. We are the Lancaster Depew Addiction Prevention Coalition. This is where we really work with 12 sectors of our community. These are 12 voices that compile an entire community, and our main goals are to reduce substance use and to create community collaboration and partnership. So through this podcast, we're calling it Focus TV. Every week we go live at 1 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube, and we're just trying to share our resources and education and services and get to know who our members are within our coalition, what they're going through, how they're getting through this extremely difficult time, and hopefully, keep everybody all together, create unity, and, allow opportunities for us to deal with stress, anxiety, get educated on what's currently happening in our community, and create awesome youth that are going to be the next leaders for Western New York and the world. So today I have the very special honor of talking to John Bennett. He's the face-to-face program director for Kids Escaping Drugs. And for those in our area, I think most of us know who Kids Escaping Drugs is, but he does the community education on addiction piece. So he's constantly in the schools. Anytime we have town hall events, he's doing a lot of the speaking. They have access to a lot of up and coming information through another portion of, their non-for-profit with the Renaissance House, and just a great resource for our coalition. So John, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Gwen. I'm super happy to be here today.
So John wanted to bring to our attention just some things that he's noticing. And I believe too that with a summer that, that will be changed, this whole year that has been changed forever, and our kids not having sports and not having Darien Lake or, all these different summer activities that entertain themselves, they're going to be with each other at each other's friends' houses. And it's good to know what we should be prepared for as parents and even as youth that are watching. But he's noticing a fast and upcoming drug that's really commonly prescribed for anxiety that is showing possibilities of being either abused or overused. And hey, why not equip our people with knowledge, right, John? So go ahead, let's get right into your presentation, and let's learn something today.
Absolutely. Is it all pulled up?
I haven't seen it yet. So not yet. Yeah, it's like, one thing is there's heroin, there's a lot of other things and a lot of drugs, but we forget, that, kids have anxiety, depression. There's a lot of other things going on the mental health component. So thank you for bringing this up. All right, John, go for it.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about Xanax today. Day in and day out, we're meeting with the kids on the Renaissance campus and kids in the community. And Xanax is a drug I'm hearing time and time again. And a lot of adults aren't too familiar with what Xanax is. Maybe they know about it through, adult prescriptions, but kids are not necessarily using that the same way. And I think this presentation is going to bring that to light. Now, what is Xanax? Xanax is a benzodiazepine medication, and it's prescribed to treat anxiety and depression. Now, you might be watching this as a parent and thinking, I'm prescribed Xanax. I am in no way, shape, or form advocating for you to stop taking any prescription medication. Chances are you're taking it as prescribed. The only advice I would give you is definitely keep this stuff safely secured under lock and key if possible. And you'll start to learn the popularity of this with adolescents as this presentation continues. But they're taking it a much different way than adults who are legitimately prescribed it. Now, when we go out to schools, as you said, Gwen, we're in schools day in and day out, we go through a rundown of the current drug trends. And when I mention Xanax, I'll see a handful of kids turn around, look at their buddies, and smile and giggle. And the reason why is this stuff is currently glamorized big time in current music and media. It's all over the place. Kids hear this stuff nonstop. On this slide here is a rapper by the name of Lil Xan, promoted Xanax big time. Now, due to HIPAA, I can't have any patients from our campus come on here and share their story. However, I did sit down with a young lady who Xanax was her main drug of choice. And throughout this presentation, she offers some quotes on the topics we're discussing. So the popularity of Xanax She first started taking Xanax because her sister mentioned a little white pill that her parents were taking. She was drawn to it immediately because she was hearing the social media influences and all the effects it gave people. She was seeing celebrities like Little Xan and musicians glorifying it, and immediately appealed to her too. It's all over social media. Now, if parents hear the terms Xans, Xannies, bars, school buses, hulks, those are all slang terms for Xanax. Now, one of the biggest things when those kids are laughing in school, when I mention Xanax, I quickly tell them that what Xanax does is our kids on campus, they refer to it as a teleportation drug, meaning they take a whole bunch of it, not as prescribed, they take a large amount of it, and they black out. They don't remember anything, maybe bits and pieces, but for the most part, everything's a blur. Now, they call it a teleportation drug is because many times they take it and they wake up somewhere completely different, not knowing how they got to that location. And as you can imagine, that could be pretty scary. We've had numerous kids who have woken up miles and miles away, oftentimes behind the wheel of a vehicle too, not remembering anything. We have numerous kids here who have been assaulted, physically assaulted, sexually assaulted, under influence of Xanax and not remember any of it. We've had kids who are really good kids who have taken Xanax and wound up getting arrested for crimes they don't remember. I'm not just saying this. I had a young man here who was one of the sweetest young men I've ever met, and he took a whole bunch of Xanax at a party. He blacked out and woke up in a jail cell with blood all over him. He brutally assaulted somebody and didn't remember any of it. Now, this young man would never have done that had he were in the right mind. Now, I mentioned some extreme cases of blackouts. This is still a scary circumstance that this young lady mentioned. She said, in high school, I took Xanax while smoking weed. That day, my friends were talking to me about the basketball game. I don't ever remember going to that game. Now, that's extremely scary because she didn't remember any of that at that point in time. I'm sorry, Glenn. My phone and do not disturb.
It's okay.
Can I restart?
Keep going. Yeah.
I just restart the slide. Is that okay?
Yeah, no,
okay.
I paused it. You good. You can keep going, John.
Okay, I'm not doing it. I'll just restart it then. Is that okay if I just restart it and everything?
Yeah, go. We're still recording, man. Yeah, go for
it. Now, this isn't as scary as some of the other circumstances I mentioned with blackouts and Xanax, but this is definitely a scary circumstance because this young lady didn't remember this experience. She said in high school, I took Xanax while smoking weed. That day, my friends were talking to me about the basketball game. I don't remember ever going to that game. Now, that might not seem like much compared to the kids who have been physically and sexually assaulted or committed crimes, but that's still extremely scary, not knowing what happened to you for a whole period of time. She couldn't remember anything about that game or that night. Who knows what else could have happened? And we're seeing this time in and time out with so many adolescents. And for many at first, it might seem like an escape, especially if some of them are coming from difficult circumstances. It might be appealing to escape that reality. But in many cases, it's extremely dangerous and extremely scary for them as well. From opiates. They didn't even know she was taking Xanax at that point in time. And with withdrawal from opiates, it's been described as the worst flu ever times 1,000, hot and cold sweats, diarrhea, vomiting. So it's very similar to that. I have on the slide some of the withdrawal symptoms and everything, but the biggest thing that I want to mention is if somebody's extremely addicted to Xanax or another benzodiazepine and they stop taking that medication, it could kill them. It puts them at risk of a grand mal seizure and death. So if someone's watching this and they're addicted extremely to benzodiazepines, or they have a friend or family member that is, it's very important that they get medical assistance rather than just stop that cold turkey, because it can cause those grand mal seizures and death. It's one of the only two types of drugs that can actually kill someone from the withdrawals. Alcohol and benzodiazepines are those drugs. Well, at school, I lost count of how many Xanax I took. I felt white as a ghost, and I literally felt like I was going to pass out. It felt like I was dying. That is the best way I can describe it. That's another scary situation, not knowing in school, surrounded by so many peers and teachers and everything. Horrible experiences that this young lady had. And this isn't just an isolated incident. Time in and time out, I'm hearing from kids too. I had a young man who was part of our face-to-face program, who grew up in a great family. He was a star hockey player who was being scouted by junior hockey teams up in Canada and colleges in the States. He went to a private school here, and he took Xanax twice in his life. Both times he made suicide attempts on himself and never had a suicidal thought in his life. It was all due to the effects of Xanax, which is extremely scary. Xanax overdose. It is possible to overdose on Xanax, especially if you're mixing that with other medications. Alcohol, mixing Xanax and alcohol can be fatal, but unfortunately we're seeing that become a more and more popular way for adolescents to take these drugs. I have the signs and symptoms of overdose on here. I'm not going to read them all off to you, but you can definitely see them. Take a minute to look at those, because that is signs of potential Xanax overdose. Some of them much more serious than the next, but it should definitely be addressed by a medical professional. Even after overdosing and blacking out on Xanax, it's amazing that my addiction had me going back again and again. What started out as something small ended up taking me down a really bad path. Pop culture definitely idolizes Xanax, but the reality of taking it can ultimately destroy her life. I think that is so well said, and you can look at how much this young lady's journey changed from the first slide when she's talking about how it was introduced to her. She saw her parents taking it, and then she heard about it on social media, having all these wonderful effects, and heard it glamorized in the music, to the experiences she had. This really sums it up well. It wasn't worth it for her. She stresses this, the kids she meets with in our early intervention program, younger kids who come in, the extreme effect that Xanax and other benzodiazepines can have on people too. It definitely can destroy somebody's life very quickly. And unfortunately, you don't hear those things in the current music and media. You hear about the glamorization, you hear about how it's this wonderful miracle drug, and that's not the truth at all. Unfortunately, it is super deadly. The withdrawals can kill you. The blackouts leave you potentially to be victimized and committing crimes, and you name it. I cannot warn people enough, both adolescents and parents, to kind of be aware of the true effects of Xanax. Conclusion, the biggest things I want to stress, this, in my opinion, and I do this day in and day out with drugs, I think Xanax is the fastest up and coming drug with adolescents right now. And the big reason is how much it is glamorized in the music. The blackouts, be aware of the blackouts. The high is very similar to opiates. It gives you that numbing high in many cases, which is why it's been appealing to many people who have taken it. The assault is super common due to the blackouts. Very commonly consumed with alcohol, as I mentioned, but again, that can be so deadly. And the biggest thing is the withdrawals can kill you, put you at risk of the grand mal seizures and death. Again, if you believe it's a Xanax or any other benzodiazepine, please seek medical assistance. For adults who are taking this stuff as prescribed, again, I'm not advocating that you stop taking it. What I am advocating is please keep this stuff safe, out of reach of adolescents. Keep track of how much you have. Dispose of any prescription medication as it's expired. There's drug drop-off boxes at pretty much any municipal building nowadays, and there's drug drop-off events. But please keep this stuff out of your child's hands. Also, take time to educate your children too. Sit down with them, have that conversation. Try to make it not awkward. A good way to not make it awkward is to do it if you see a news article on something. Talk to them about it then, maybe on a car ride. But it's important you talk. Putting stuff off is never the right answer. And trust your gut. You know, if you have a feeling that something's not right, address that. Talk to your child, because I think communication is where it all starts. My information is on here. If I can ever do anything, if anyone has any questions about Xanax, any other drug, vaping device, anything at all, mental health, addiction, if anyone just needs to talk, myself and my team are here for them. You can reach us at Kids Escaping Drugs at 827-9462. If a parent finds something in their child's bedroom and they're not sure if it's like a vaping device, a piece of drug paraphernalia, a drug, they can email me a picture and I can let them know what they're looking at. whatever we can do, I can't emphasize that enough. Please give us a call or an email. We're here to help. Thank you.
John, thank you so much for this very enlightening presentation. You know, I know that I've had the privilege to talking to the residents of, what is it, 291 Elm, right? You know, downtown, the addiction center that, and they were, you know, having my own story and my own traumas in my own life, and leaving home at 15, you know, I almost died because of just reckless behavior at 18 in a car accident. And ever since then, I've been just trying to do what I can to provide hope and healing and purpose, you know, that there's purpose for all of our lives. And they were, you know, I was scared at first because they look like a rough bunch, you know, but then they were super open to me. They were very welcoming. And then I had the opportunity to talk to the kids at the Renaissance House. And, you know, now, you know, fast forward, you know, many years later, I think it's probably about 5 years later, I have teenagers. And now I can understand, like, wow, the kids at the Renaissance House, way more harder to reach and to, you know, for them to get some buy-in from me, you know, because they're like, who is this girl? They're they were really reluctant. But then once they saw, like, I was real, that I cared about them, they were opening up to me, and they were able to, you know, at least receive the information that I had. And having teenagers now, it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Because these boys, they're not very open to hearing what I have to say, but they're open to hearing what somebody else has to say. So I think our kids, when they reach these moments of adolescence, they do withdraw from their parents. It's a typical adolescent move to their peers as their common source for information and advice. And it's good for us parents. We have to be united on the same front to know what our kids are listening to, how it affects their behavior, how to know and diagnose their behavior based off of these symptoms that you were able to show us today, and like have a conversation with them, because silence is never a good thing. You know, I mean, we've had previous discussions on Focus TV on, you know, just depression and signs of suicide. And we had Sally, I just interviewed Sally. So she's going to be from Erie County. Oh my gosh, what's the full name? Erie County Council of Addiction and Substance Use, something like that, right? Prevention and substance use, but yeah, I know, exactly. But she's going to be talking, and we're going to reveal that one about just having your kid, if they're out at a, you know, whatever, at their friend's house, you know, having your kid even wake you up when they get home, so you can not only know obviously they're home safe, but you can observe their behavior. You know, like, we have to be smart and know what to look for out of our kids. And this presentation was amazing, man. It was super enlightening. You hear it all the time. I know my kids listen to a lot of rap and R&B, and it's benzos, it's mollies, you know, it's like, you know, you hear all these little slang words. So super good presentation. Thank you.
Gwen, thank you very much for including me on this opportunity. I want to thank you for all you do and all that Focus does too. It's my privilege on behalf of Kids Escaping Drugs to be involved with you in Focus and contribute any way we can, because it's all about community involvement. It's all about partnership, and all the great organizations and individuals who are part of Focus. You know, we really do a great job working together, and we're proud to be a part of that. So thank you for doing what you do with Focus as well.
Thanks, John. So we definitely plan on bringing you back on a future episode, you know, especially over this summer, as, you know, again, our kids are kind of home and not with limited things to do. So parents, if you're watching this and, you know, you need someone to talk to, please reach out to John at, you know, face-to-face through Kids Escaping Drugs. Have the conversation. What I think we've shown so far is these people that we think are so far out of reach and, oh, they're too busy. No, these people that are part of Focus and many other organizations, they want to help. We genuinely want to help each other and equip each other and empower each other to help our youth, you know, get through this period of adolescence successfully and safe and healthy. So reach out to John, have a conversation, and we're going to bring you back on future episodes and over the summer to talk about more things. All right, everybody, sorry about that. So, hey, thanks for watching. make sure that you like us on Facebook and you follow us. That's important too, so that you get notifications on when we go live on Fridays at 1. And also like us and follow us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where all these videos go. So share the videos, get them out to your network. Let's help our kids and let's help each other and the families throughout this hard time. And also go to forourcommunitytoday.org, where you can also sign up for our newsletter and get up-to-date information. We also have a COVID-19 resource page with tons of resources, all these different things that we talk about. John's presentation will be up there. You can download these presentations and, take your time with it and share it to your network. So that's the goal, right? Help each other. So we'll see you guys next time. Thank you.